Well, I thought it was really brilliant. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron is doing a fantastic job. I think he's a star. And he made a statement that I'll just read. Justice is not often easy. It does not fit the mold of public opinion, and it does not conform to shifting standards. It answers only to the facts and to the law. If we simply act on emotion or outrage, there's no justice. Mob justice is not justice. Justice sought by violence is not justice. It just becomes revenge. I mean, I heard that. I said, write that down for me, please, because I think it was a terrific statement. He's handling it very well.
What you just heard is President Trump praising Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron after his announcement that the 3 Louisville police officers who were involved in Breonna Taylor's death would not face charges in her killing. Only one of the men, former officer Brett Hankinson, will be charged, but not for Taylor's death. Hankinson is charged with wanton endangerment after bullets from his gun entered a neighboring apartment. The Attorney General suggesting that her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, shooting at officers, then the officers shooting back, made that killing of Breonna Taylor justified. Taylor's family is now demanding the grand jury's transcript.
The family is demanding that Daniel Cameron release the transcript of the grand jury proceedings so the family and the community can see if there was any evidence presented on behalf of Breonna Taylor or if her life didn't even matter in those proceedings.
Joining us now is Lonita Baker, one of the attorneys for Breonna Taylor's family. Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Baker.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it has been 6 months since Breonna Taylor was killed. 6 long months that her mother, Tamika Palmer, has spent without her daughter. 6 months that family and friends have spent without Breonna's physical presence. How is the family doing right now, and what was their reaction as they sat with Attorney General Daniel Cameron as he announced that no charges will be filed?
Yeah, the family, they've united. They're with each other, consoling each other. They were devastated at Daniel Cameron's explanation, the news yesterday, the way that the family was handled basically yesterday. The family finding out at the exact same time that America is finding out that none of the officers would be held responsible for Breonna's murder. And it's devastating because Daniel Cameron's explanation does not make legal sense. He can't say that Brett Hankinson's actions were so reckless that he wantonly endangered the neighbors, but failed to exercise that same standard to Breonna. And I listened to Donald Trump say that he's brilliant. I hear Daniel Cameron explain why and talk about the facts and the law. And yes, I do want to talk about the facts and the law, because what we do know about this case is Sergeant Mattingly stated that Breonna Taylor was unarmed. He saw her being unarmed. He stated that he saw Kenneth Walker fire a firearm, and he saw Kenneth Walker dive off into a room when they began to fire back. 32 rounds into Breonna's apartment, per Daniel Cameron's own testimony. Kentucky law in justified self-defense, it's clear. Reckless behavior that causes the death of the party not posing a threat to you is not covered under the justification defense in Kentucky. So those officers were not entitled to a justification defense. Not only are we demanding the transcript, I want Daniel Cameron to tell us straight on, yes or no, did he even present any charges as it relates to Breonna Taylor to the grand jury for the grand jury to make a decision, or did his office make that decision unilaterally?
And you just mentioned that Breonna Taylor's family found out the same time everyone else did. Did they, in fact, meet with Attorney General Cameron at any time before he made those public remarks?
We were meeting with him before he made the remarks. We met with him by the time they transported us from the meet where we met at the Capitol to going underground tunnels to Daniel Cameron's office. By the time we got there, it was 1:15, which is the same time that the grand jury was reading its report to the circuit court judge, which was televised across a number of news stations. That link was sent out for the public to see. So Breonna Taylor's family was finding out at the same time that everyone else found out, after he had promised us that he would let us know in advance.
That's just devastating. And you also mentioned something that plays off of what he was saying. He was saying that this is, self-defense by the officers. The police union also chimed in and said that this was self-defense. Is it the way that the law is written in their interpretation of it, or do you feel like this wasn't, in fact, self-defense?
It's not self-defense under the law. It's clear that Breonna did not pose a death by their own testimony. And if she did not pose a threat, again, their recklessly firing into her home is not justified under the law in Kentucky. You cannot injure a third-party innocent bystander in trying to defend yourself. What those officers should have done, instead of firing blindly without having a target in sight, is retreat, assess the situation, call in for backup. But they did not have the right to fire 32 rounds into Breonna's home. And if Daniel Cameron did not present this evidence to the grand jury, we need to continue to demand that he does present it to the grand jury and let the grand jury and the criminal justice system work itself out. He could not make this decision unilaterally.
And Tamika Palmer, Breonna Taylor's mother, such a strong woman for being out in the forefront, of course, fighting for her daughter. What is next for the family? She has vowed to continue to fight for justice for Breonna Taylor. Is there any way that there can be justice now that this decision has come out?
Again, if Daniel Cameron's office made this decision unilaterally, we do ask that it be presented to a grand jury. The facts for Breonna, not neighbors. And again, I failed to mention that bullets went into other neighbors of Black family homes upstairs, and there were no charges for them. So we need all of these facts presented to a grand jury, not slanted, and proceed through the criminal. Daniel Cameron refuses to do that. We do have still on. They will provide the justice that Daniel Cameron be at the forefront and fight for Breonna.
All right, Ms. Lonita Baker, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this case.
Thank you.